Travis, my good self. During my run this morning, I was constructing this initial hypothetical example of a potential future we face. So I hope I can correctly and clearly present it to you before we get to the main topic. Archaeology is a great danger to Trump because if he's not able to conquer America and rewrite American history, such as putting in that Canada burned down the White House in 1812, he will have to face a reckoning in some distant future when archaeologists dig up America to find the truth. But in his book of Trump, The Real American History of Making America Great Again, it will include the incident where a QAnon follower had liberated the children, pregnant mothers, and nuns held hostage in the basement of the pizza parlor, who were being satanically, ritually murdered and raped and all that. And so, of course, he'll have the big helicopter machine gun going in, and we'll have a picture of him photoshopped, but in the future they won't know what Photoshop is. And so archaeologists, let's say 1,000 years or so from now, will read from the book of Trump and say, "Oh wow, this is an awesome incident. We want to go there and see and feel the presence of the mighty one who liberated the children, pregnant mothers, and nuns in the school bus in the basement." And so archaeology, they have to go digging. They find the pizza parlor, they dig underneath. I'm not finding a basement, sir. What do you mean no basement? Keep digging. It's not here. Look for yourself. Well, but the book of Trump said are you sure we're in the right place? Well, yeah, it says right here in this location, the street signs still exist. The pizza parlor still has its sign. This is it. We can't find a basement. What do we do? And so then Charlton Heston makes it to the coast and sees the Statue of Liberty halfway buried in the sand of the rising sea waters due to climate change, that Trump prevented people from going into the forbidden zone to find out that it was climate change that caused that. And he'll collapse to his knees and say the immortal words, damn you all to hell," as he pounds his hand in the sand and collapses in grief. And then he joins one of the archaeologists, apes, or chimpanzee humans, at the cave site where they were digging, and they find a Tickle Me Elmo from that first year of Christmas where it was rare to obtain one, and they'll pull the string and it'll say, "Trump did it. If the wrapped up Forbes magazine doesn't fit, you must acquit." And that cryptic message will haunt Charlton Heston for the rest of his life in the future. So we'll see the numerous thumbs down as I proceed into the main story for the day. I think it's funny. I need to find that picture, though. We need to put that picture up. So, archaeology has told us about Thutmose IV and his battle at Armageddon during the 18th dynasty of Egypt. Planet of the Apes, book of so there he is. Book of the Lawgiver. Okay. Gotta find one that'll fit on a screen rather than having a whole ton of black on either side. Dun, 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 dun. Guess this one will have to do. I'm surprised nobody liked my Maryland. And yes, I know it's not the majority of the videos that have your typical 2 to 4 thumbs down are from those who are attacking online now as we near the election. And so Mormons are technically either avoiding my videos or they're looky-loos, just wanting to see out of curiosity and then just leaving. Alright, so Thutmose IV and the Battle of Armageddon against the Hittites. Archaeology has preserved it. Both cultures preserve their own history of the events that occurred. The Hittites say they won. Thutmose IV says he won. So who was right, who was wrong? Well, it was a stalemate. That's why they both claimed victory. And while the battle had commenced, archaeology and the historical record confirm that Thutmose IV went to the hills in that area. Well, that was where the village, it was kind of small, it wasn't a big village, it was just a small hill people, in a place that they named Salem for peace. And Thutmose IV had stayed there for a little bit of time. Now, in Paleo-Hebrew, if you transliterate Thutmose into Paleo-Hebrew, you have David Moses. And so David Moses, if I'll use the term from now on, for specific purposes, which I've previously explained in other videos, his stay there in the little village of Salem apparently had a major impact, as later what became the new name of the place, Jerusalem or Yarusalem, was eventually rebuilt, or newly named on the land, and we know from the historical records that there was a temple that was eventually put there that was destroyed by the Babylonians. And then, of course, the Roman period temple that was rebuilt after they returned. And so scholars aren't really sure what Jerusalem means, the yar that was added to the beginning of it. They know that Salem means peace, but they can't figure out the yar. And so if you're unfamiliar why I'm saying yar instead of jar or jur, it's because the J sound is a European alteration of the phoneme from Hebrew. And so Spanish, for example, went a completely different direction and turned the J into an H. So it's Jesus instead of Jesus. The other Europeans turned it into a J sound from the Y. But Paleo-Hebrew, if they knew how to decipher Paleo-Hebrew, or at least consulted me, they would have known that the J, the Yod, is, or the Y Yod, is the Heliopolis creation glyph, the Z. And so heaven, earth, and then Shu in between the two, propping them apart from each other, because they loved each other so much. But Adam said, no, separate them. You got to keep them separated. And so Nut was unable to bear children, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's the symbol of the Yod. And that is the name of the Hebrew God, the Paleo-Hebrew God. Well, it just so happens that it's a transliteration from the Egyptian God Yah. A phonetical transliteration, because there's indications that it wasn't a Yah, a Y sound, because in Greek, Paleo-Greek, it was a Z, or at least was changed to a Z in Koine Greek, but I'm pretty sure it was still a Z in Paleo-Greek. But it's the exact same. Yah and Zeus, the us is the masculine singular ending, so you drop that and you have Za, Yah. They're the same pictorially. That's my discovery, by the way. And whereas other people have tried to use the phoneme from Jesus to claim that Shua is Zeus. No. Yah. Anyway. And so you have Yah, and then the R, which in Semitic they've adopted the creation as Paleo-Hebrew got transformed into Semitic. They claim the Semiticized version of the R as the head of a human being. Even an ape sometimes. But that's not Paleo-Hebrew. It comes from the Egyptian ensign, or neter sign. They put E's in between because Egyptian had no vowels. And so the E's are from modern day Egyptologists from England primarily, who said, okay, because there's no vowels, we need to be able to speak this, so we're just going to insert E's in the majority of the places so that we can pronounce it to each other. So that's why you have Peter, for example, for PTR, the two eyes of Horus, which means seer. Anybody catch that? I tried to have the church put that in the footnotes for the 2009 foreign language editions of the scriptures. They said no. They've got BYU professors who are already assigned to the Greek and Hebrew footnotes. Anyway. And so, as a netter sign, it's the sign of God. And so, as a suffix determinative, as the yod is first, or the zeta is first, you have God of creation. Yah. That's the God of creation for the Paleo-Hebrewites. As the retranslation of the Bible into Paleo-Hebrew establishes let there be light and there was light. No, Yah is light. That's what was being done. Yah, Father Yah, the head God of creation, established his son Yah to be in charge of creation. And at the end of creation, you have in chapter 2, he is given a new name of Yahweh. This comes to mind because somebody asked me about it yesterday, and so I answered, informing him of this. And so you have Jerusalem as being now established under the God Yah. Yah is the founder of the 18th dynasty, who is a moon god associated with Thoth, David, as the 18th dynasty were the David Moseses, the Thoth Moseses, Ta'ut Moshe, and Yah Moshe was the first pharaoh of that dynasty who chased out the Hyksos from the land of Egypt back into the Canaan area. And no, they are not the Israelites, though yes, there is some mix-up by the biblical author, being over 1,000 years later from the incidents that he's trying to write about. But the Hipperu are not the Hebrews. And and so that presence of the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh of Egypt, the great high priest of Egypt, to this little village obviously made an impact as they adopted the god of the 18th dynasty as their new name for their village, which eventually built a temple to his name, and which was destroyed by Babylon. And we know all this from archaeology because of the Battle of Armageddon. And so now we have the latter days, which the news is now freely flowing out the word Armageddon for the fires in California, for the hurricanes on the west coast or the east coast. So fires on the west coast, flooding and storms on the east coast. Armageddon. And yet, where's Jerusalem? The Doctrine and Covenants makes it very clear about the necessity in the latter days of Jerusalem, New Jerusalem. Let's see if I can find it. Yep, section 45. Verse 66. And it shall be called the New Jerusalem, a land of peace, a city of refuge. Notice a land of peace, Jerusalem, peace. Solomon, by the way, I'm sure you caught on, solemn, peace. Well, what's that N at the end? Well, it's a determinative, suffix determinative for a king when it's referring to a person. If it's the land, which it's never identified as the land per se, we'd have to go back and check the retranslation. It would be the kingdom of Salem, kingdom of peace. So Solomon is king of peace. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't Isaiah say that there was going to be a son of David who would be named the Prince of Peace? The prince being the heir to the throne. Solomon was the Prince of Peace, as Salem is in his name. Wonder if that has anything to do with Armageddon of the latter days. Yes. Anyway, a city of refuge, a place of safety for the saints of the Most High God. And where is it? On July 19th, 1840, which Brigham Young refused to put in our Doctrine and Covenants, Joseph Smith condemned the 12 for being Judas, collectively this time. In 1839, he only called Brigham Young Judas for exalting himself with the removal of Thomas B. Marsh. But in 1840, he goes on to talk about needing to build the mountain cities of Zion and New Jerusalem in preparation for the coming Christ. Which, if you haven't been paying attention to my videos, he's Mormon. Section 103, verse 16. And so the glory of the Lord shall be there, the terror of the Lord shall be there, insomuch that the wicked will not come in unto it, for it shall be called Zion. And Joseph Smith clarifies that in the 1840, when it's two separate places, city of Zion and the city of New Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass among the wicked that every man that will not take his sword against his neighbor must needs flee unto Zion for safety. For there shall be gathered unto it out of every nation under heaven, and it shall be the only people that shall not be at war one with another. If you've not been paying attention to the news, and it doesn't matter whether you're conservative or liberal, and whether you watch liberal or conservative media, they both have been informing you that Trump will cause martial law for Election Day, or soon thereafter, depending on when the mail-in ballots start popping up. He's already talking about making sure he wins the election, that we will have civil war martial law in America. And after all these years, we can take Trump at his word. As much as the liberal media kept trying to deny it this whole time, as, I'm sure he didn't mean that, he says he was joking. And then we find out, he wasn't joking, he was secretly doing it after he said he stopped doing it. And so, yeah, America is about to descend into war. We know the countdown. 48 days till election day now. Trump has already told us he's doing it. He will do it. That's been his pattern. He does what he says he does now that he's president. When he was a regular citizen, no, he didn't get to do what he wanted all the time. He had to constantly bail out of what he got into. And lawsuits protected him. But now America is going to descend into war, where neighbor against neighbor will be fighting. Whether it's against the secret police of Trump, whether it's the National Guard, whether it's the local cops who are beating down protesters, there will be war in America. There will be no election vote, legitimate anyway. And yet there's no Jerusalem. There's no New Jerusalem. There's no Zion for the saints to peacefully assemble to. Because it's not peaceful here in Utah, is it? So this isn't the fulfillment of this. And that's what I fear. Because the Book of Mormon warned us. They gave us the year of when it would begin. In the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah, the puppet king of Babylon, that Lehi had this dream of the sign of the Son of Man. The sign of the Son of Man, according to astronomy, was 23rd of September 2017, the first year of the reign of Trump. Now we have the coronavirus that Moses had as the last plague, which caused Pharaoh to say, leave. Because his firstborn son, the heir to the throne, was dead from the coronavirus. And here we have the coronavirus. But we don't have Pharaoh. We have government and religion separated. The Book of Mormon warns of a potential scenario in at least two conditions. One with Ether, with the Jaredites, the other with Moroni, with the Nephites, as they record the entire destruction of their people. Damn you all to hell.